Good afternoon from the GoLocal Live Broadcast Center here at the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center in Providence. I am happy to say, to start out with my weather forecast, that I actually took off my coat coming in the building. I felt very good about that. So I've got this transition period happen where I'm leaving for Vegas this weekend, so I'm hoping this weather kind of just follows me all the way to Vegas and keeps getting warmer. So excited to see the sun's out, and a happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. The last 2 weeks we've spent time talking about things to do for Valentine's Day, gift ideas, and today we figure, you know, it's kind of, you got to get moving. You hopefully have your reservations for tonight or going through the weekend. But the segment we're going to do today still can play into Valentine's Day, and I actually got this feedback from some of you on social media that this was a great idea to talk about things you could do as a romantic time at home with your significant other. So we're talking cheese, bread, and wine, three of my very favorite things. And I can tell you that my guests that are coming in are all very creative people, have some amazing talents from their place, and have some beautiful products that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to taste on your behalf to let you know about them. So we've got joining me today, I've got Narragansett Creamery coming in, and I have Mark from there. I've got Bagel Express and Anthony coming in from there. He's got 2 locations, one in Providence and in North Providence. And then my last guest, which will be the wine part, is Nicole coming from Gasparo's up on Federal Hill. They're celebrating a big anniversary this year, so I'm going to let her talk about that. They also host some amazing tastings at the store, so I'm going to let her get into that as well. But the whole combination is to try to see how all 3 of these things can flow together. I have no problem eating any of these things at any given time. The only 4th thing I think I'm missing is pasta. That would put us in like that heavenly category. But bread, cheese, and wine, all perfect things that we're going to talk about today. And I also want to put out there that it came up to me yesterday, and then I got a lot of it today, is that today is also the first day of Lent. So I know that all of these things are things that you can eat at Lent, and also seafood obviously as well. So these are things you can enjoy if you were trying to do a nice romantic thing at home tonight or going into the whole Lenten season. So great things to talk about. So I'm going to get started, bring in my first guest, Mark Federico from Narragansett Creamery, and talk about all these amazing things he's brought us. How are you, Mark?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for making it in today. I appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
So I have to say that I was telling Mark, and I search for this and find it almost anywhere I want to now, but I was finishing off the last of my Atwell's Gold cheese last night they produced, which I absolutely love. So you guys have produced some amazing, amazing products.
Thank you. We'll have some here for you today.
Awesome. See, right here, Atwell's Gold. We'll get right into it. We'll talk about it. But what I'd like to do is, before we get into all the amazing things that you have, is kind of talk about the history, because you've got a generation thing going on for like 2 generations now of how your whole family's evolved into this, right?
Yes. My grandparents were in the food business, supermarket business, and my parents, the specialty food business in Connecticut, in New Haven, Connecticut. And that passion, I followed that passion of quality food, farm-to-table foods, from the days of working with my dad at his store, his produce store, where I would greet the farmer at the back of the store and accept the produce, stock the produce, and sell it to the customers. So that was 50 years ago.
Wow, so you've seen an amazing transition of how this has all evolved.
Yes,
as well.
yes, it has. And so I decided, after a career in accounting, I decided to follow my passion back into the food business and manufacture cheeses. And decided on Providence, Rhode Island. Well,
I got to say, I'm glad that you left accounting to come to food, back to food, because it's just a little more exciting to me, although accounting's important.
Accounting's important, but it's exciting. It's exciting to create something that people like and people enjoy, and that's what I wanted to do.
So now, you had a company that you were working with that had specialty products before you launched Narragansett Creamery, right?
No, we had I was making cheeses in Rhode Island, in Providence, since 2000.
Okay.
But we were making private label cheeses for other companies. In 2007, with the help and inspiration of Luella Hill, Brown University graduate and passionate local food advocate, came to me and said, we need to launch a brand in Rhode Island, a local brand, and together we launched Narragansett Creamery.
So, I mean, if you think about it, 2007, we're in 18, that's not a long time at all for this business to grow to where you've taken it.
Not a long time, and I credit Patty's in the other room, and my wife, who did a lot of the farmers markets and created consumer demand, grassroots consumer demand for the product, and consumers went to the local stores and said, you need to take in this product because it is quality and this is what we want.
Well, Patty, good job to you, because I think I've been buying it since 2007 at farmers markets, so that's fantastic. So one of the things that I really want to highlight is that when you decided to do this in 07, you not only kept it in Rhode Island, but you're in Providence.
Yes. Well, we thought in looking for a location for our creamery, we thought that the Providence is a great location. First, we have access to great milk. We have access to local farmers, New England milk, small family farms, farmers that are passionate about what they make and the milk that they produce. Secondly, Providence is in the middle of two major markets, Boston and New York.
Right.
So it's a great spot to manufacture and distribute a product.
So how big has the company become now? How many people are working with you on a regular basis?
Yeah, we have about 20 people.
20 people?
Yeah, about 20 people on a regular basis. We start early in the morning, pasteurizing our milk and various processes through the day.
So he's grown to 20 people. You started in 2007 to go to this. You've done unbelievable, and you stayed in the capital city. So congratulations to you and Patty. This is no small feat, and I personally am very appreciative, and I know many others out there that have commented to me are as well. So congratulations to you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we felt received very well by Providence and by the local community, and that really propelled our growth. So it was great.
So let's talk about some of the other things that are out there that surround all this. So you brought an unbelievable, beautiful spread, and we've got a few more things that we'll bring into show here. But how is this all made? So you've got a facility here in Providence.
Right.
How is this all put together?
We receive every day fresh milk from the farms.
Okay.
It is no added hormones and antibiotic free. And we receive that milk at, let's say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. By 2 o'clock the next morning, we're making cheeses.
Wow.
So that's milk that's not been out of the cow very, very long. And so our first step in the process is pasteurization. Well, let me back up a second.
Sure.
First of all, we're very fortunate in New England to have these small family farms. And the way we purchase milk through the co-op from these farms is by the pound. So we pay by the pound of milk, not by the gallon.
Wow.
And why that's important is because the farmer gets paid for the protein and the butterfat in that milk. So if the farmer takes care of the cows, feeds the cows well, treats the cows well, we're going to have good, high-quality milk. We're going to pay a little bit more for that milk, but that's okay because we're going to get better cheese.
Right. So this, there's a lot, the sourcing of all this is local, which goes into this whole thing of the farm-to-table movement that's been out there for a long time and supporting the local farmers. You're really helping them not only from buying from them, but buying from them at good quality.
Yes. If again, they feed the cows well, treat the cows well, they get more money, I pay more money, but it works out for both of us because I'll get more cheese and better cheese, high quality cheese to make the high quality products that we make.
So in the facility that you have there, that comes in, you said by the next day you're already making the different cheeses. How many cheeses overall are you producing now?
I should be better prepared.
No, because
probably over 20.
Over 20 different cheeses.
Yeah, over 20 different cheeses. From the hard cheeses like the Atwell's Gold, which is an Italian flavor profile like an Asiago, which was one of the first cheeses that I made, coming to Rhode Island.
And I love the name Atwell's.
Atwell's Gold. We tried to name. We have our Divine Providence, which is a Gouda. So we have a variety of cheeses, from the hard cheeses to the softer cheeses.
Okay.
Like the fresh mozzarella or the ricotta, world award-winning gold medal.
So I'm having a hard time not eating everything here, so I'm going to let Mark do a little more talking about what we have on the table while I try some of these cheeses. What are the ones, what's cut up what we have?
Okay, well, this is Atwell's Gold, that is cut up. And I'm going to show you some of the things that we have here, right on this table. This is our
I'm just going to eat some of the apples.
This is our crescendo. It's our version of a Stracchino di Crescenza, a northern Italian cheese, which is a spreadable cheese. It's like a brie without the rind. It can be spread on a cracker or a nice French baguette. It's named Stracchino. The Italians named it after the time of year that they milked the cow. The cows were coming down from the mountain tired, so there wasn't a lot of fluid milk, but there was a lot of butterfat in the cheese. And they made this specialty cheese, higher in butterfat, very spreadable, like a brie without the rind.
I gotta tell you, and I always have this problem with aromas and things, but cheeses are no different. I'm like loving everything right here.
Here we have our fresh award-winning gold medal ricotta. We won the gold medal in Wisconsin Cheesemakers Association for this ricotta. We keep it pure, and really it's simplicity and staying true to the simple ingredients, which is milk. We acidify it, cook it to a high temperature, hand ladle the ricotta into a tin, and drain it.
So I'm noticing a trend here with some Italian influences in the cheeses.
Yes. Yes.
All
But
right.
we do have, and we'll show you the finished product. We do have a Greek or a Cyprus type cheese, which is our version of a halloumi.
Okay.
Okay, a halloumi we can grill it. It doesn't. To be honest, ours doesn't grill as well because we decided to cut the amount of salt, the sodium, in half.
Okay.
So it isn't as hard, but it pan sears very well. Non-stick pan, a few minutes on each side. It's like a toasted cheese. Without the bread, it can be eaten savory or sweet. Savory with a salad as the protein, sweet with dates, nuts, honey.
That's what I was doing with my apple school last night. I was eating all the nuts. So we're gonna go back to that piece. So we got this one, the mozzarella here.
The fresh mozzarella, and
We're gonna show this right
show
here.
it here. It can be sliced with tomatoes, basil, little olive oil, salt and pepper. That's it. We talk about bread later, little bread.
So I enjoy this all year round. I'm one of those people like it's not summer. I'm like, I don't care, it's not summer. This is amazing. I love eating this all year round.
Yes, and if fresh tomatoes are not available, you can use a sun-dried tomato. You can use some fruit. You can grill a peach or grill.
I didn't think about the sun-dried tomato.
Yes,
I like that
yes.
idea.
Try the sun-dried tomatoes.
I like that. All right, so we did the ricotta, we got the mozzarella, we did the crescendo, we got the grilling cheese and the apple's gold, my favorite, and then we got over here some of the burrata, which I want to make sure I pull this up because this is another one that's amazing.
Okay, this is our burrata. Burrata is a cream-filled mozzarella. It originated in Puglia, Italy, and we make every one of these burrata is made by hand. There is no machine that can make this hand burrata. We stretch the fresh mozzarella curd into mozzarella, and then you have this, okay?
Yep, I got it.
Okay,
No worries.
so I have to
Go,
use my
I'm
hands.
the same way.
I have to use my hands.
See, that's
So
why one hand keeps eating the cheese, because I gotta do something.
we stretch the hot mozzarella and fill it with stracciatella. Stracciatella means ripped, torn parts of fresh mozzarella, and cream and a little bit of salt. We fill that pocket with the stracciatella, close it, and cool it in water.
So this is a process.
This is a process, and every one is handmade.
Yeah, this is delicious, absolutely delicious. And then let's see, we've got, I'm gonna bring, this is the grilling cheese you were just talking
Right,
about.
we talked
So-
about our version of the halloumi, the grilling chease.
Now this is something that you've grilled up?
This is, yes, we pan-seared this, so if you take a look.
Yeah, I'll take a look while you're
Yeah.
talking. Okay.
It has the nice coloring of the pan-sear on both sides.
Yeah,
And
it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And all you did was a little like grilling on each side.
yes, no oil, no butter, non-stick or a good seasoned cast iron pan is all you need. Hot, medium heat, a couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes on each side, and you have your protein for your salad, or you have a nice dessert with dates
I could eat this all day
and
long.
honey.
I could eat that all day long. That is absolutely amazing. All right, so as I was saying before, there's some influence here. I think we've covered everything. We've got great raspberries. I want to eat those too. So the influence here is heavy Italian.
Yes, it is, but we want it to be a little more diverse than just Italian cheeses. So that's why we make an award-winning feta cheese. We did not show it here today, but we make an award-winning feta cheese. We make the grilling cheese.
So how, and this is, I think we spoke about this one, some of the questions I had out there, is that where does the idea, when you're expanding to come up with a new line of cheeses, is it a thought process where you guys sit down? Do you talk to the vendors, the restaurants? How does that come about? Because you mentioned before that you've gotten suggestions on cheeses.
Yes, well, it's one of the good things that the farmers market provides to us. So we have a lot of interaction with our customers. When we are launching a new product, we have samples so our customers can tell us too much salt, not enough salt, our pirate spread too hot, not hot enough, and we take those suggestions seriously and alter the product till we come to a finished product that we really like. We do get suggestions from customers and from supermarkets. Our grilling cheese was a suggestion, was a request from a supermarket.
Really?
Who decided to ask us to make a halloumi. We couldn't name it halloumi because the name is trademarked in the United States. However, this is a product that is now being sold nationally through one of the meal kit companies.
So that lends me to another point there. So you say it's being sold nationally, and I've noticed that to me, and maybe it's just because I'm more aware of it because I love the cheeses, is that I'm seeing them in more and more places now. So Has it increased the amount of places? You went from farmers markets to now stores are carrying it. I've even seen it in restaurants.
Yes,
So-
many restaurants,
Yeah.
and I think, again, I credit Patty for, the down, feet on the ground, legwork to go to the farmers markets, and that's where we reach the consumer, and that's where the consumer decides they like the product and asks, restaurants and or supermarkets or small markets to carry the product. A very grassroots growth.
So who are a couple, just thinking locally, who are a couple that just come to the top of mind? I know you've got plenty, but who are a couple that come top of mind to you?
Stores or
Yeah,
restaurants?
stores.
Stores, it'd be Eastside Marketplace,
Okay.
Dave's, in Massachusetts, in Connecticut, Big Y, Roach Brothers.
You've got a lot of them out there.
I've got a
So-
lot, Sandy's, Belmont,
Now to
Lee's
find this
Market,
list, can they go to
Massachusetts.
the website?
They
Is
go
there
to
a list of all
website,
stores? Okay.
the website, and I apologize, I don't like mentioning names, but, because I know I'm gonna miss.
No,
many.
but I just wanted to give an idea to throw it out there because one of the questions I had is it only in specialty markets or specialty farm stands? And I didn't get that impression from where I've seen
No,
it.
no,
So, the farm stands, like I found it, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember the name myself, but in Warren, there's a farm stand that I've gone to when I've gone to visit MS Walker, and it's right there, and I've picked up
Yes.
apples gold while I was out there buying things.
yes.
So, it's plentiful and it's in a lot of areas. The other part, and today you've given us a great overview from the education standpoint, and everything I'm covering today, even from the bread standpoint, there's a variety of breads out there to talk about, obviously an immense amount of variety of wines, but cheeses to the flip side as well, is that do you find that a lot of people, when you're at these farm stands, are doing tastings for the first time and finding things that they haven't tasted before or had?
Yes, it amazes me that, some markets we've been at for, almost 10 years, and you get new people to come, new
Right.
people to taste. The other thing we've noticed with farmers markets is we've got many chefs from local to, from New England,
Right,
all
right.
over, come to see what is at the farmers market, what is new, what can they put on their menu, and it's been a great source of growth opportunity for us.
Well, congratulations to you guys again. I mean, this is, to me, it's a wonderful thing, not only that you've done such a great job producing it, but you're in the heart of Rhode Island. You're in the capital city and making this happen with a great team that you've put together. So congratulations to both of you. Please check out their website, and we'll make sure that we list it, because to find out where these tastings are and where it's for sale, not only are you enjoying a wonderful product, but you're supporting a local person that's producing this, a local shop that's putting this all together. So, Mark, congratulations to you and Patty, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
bringing in these amazing things. I'm going to be snagging some more cheese
Great,
meats here
very
for
good.
sure.
Thank you very much.
So much. This is awesome.
Thank you, enjoy.
I've been taking a couple of these because I got wine to taste later, so I want to make sure that I can do this with some wine. We'll be in good shape.
Good.
All right,
Very
we'll
good.
help you state some of this out. So, as I mentioned, I kind of tried to keep it in this order. I got cheese, bread, and wine going. So we've got the bread part coming next. Now, as I'm getting some of this settled up, and we're going to bring in some new things, bakeries today are going crazy because it's Valentine's Day. So they've got everything from chocolate treats to various chocolate dipped strawberries going on. So everybody's got a very busy day today with this stuff happening. So I wanted to find someone that I could talk about a variety of things. And bread obviously goes with wine and goes with cheese, but I also wanted to make sure that we could find someone that had some unique things. And I stumbled upon, thanks to my good friend Jim Verity, I stumbled upon Anthony from Bagel Express. Now, Bagel Express has got 2 locations, and I'm going to let Anthony fill us in on this, but he's been doing this for a little while, so I'm excited to welcome him in, and we'll start to bring him in now, and then we'll get into this whole variety of breads he produces and the bagels, which are amazing. Whoa,
Hey.
check this out. Now that is some bread. Look at that. Bagels, I want to put this down so I can see this. How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Pleasure. Thanks
So-
for having me.
You're very welcome. This is awesome. And I know I got some other stuff I'm going to bring on here, and I'm going to slide in the back because I want to showcase these awesome cookies. We've got some Valentine's Day colors going on. So, Anthony, you've been doing this not for, a little while now, right?
Oh, yeah.
How many years have you been doing this?
Oh, we've been in the business 23 years.
23 years. Where was your first location?
We started on Smith Street in North Providence.
In North Providence. And now you got North Providence and Federal
And
Hill.
we opened on Broadway and Federal Hill, yes.
So, Federal Hill, we like to grab a lot of good places up there from, obviously, but this is the type of place that thrives and does well. I stopped in the shop the other day, and it was packed when I went in, and it was the middle of the afternoon, so it was another great thing to see. But 23 years, you've been producing these type of things, and you've grown the business to not only 2 locations, but what you're carrying in these locations.
Yes, we expanded into a little bit of bread and little Italian bread, and little brown bread that I made, a little secret recipe.
So this is the secret recipe
And
right
it
here.
is it.
Now, you got the Italian bread, the brown bread, and then what are these over here? Because
Those
this is
are
something,
bagel breads. We
Bagel
call them.
breads.
And they're made with the bagel product, and they make a great sandwich.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So one of the things that I got comments on is that everybody says these are the most amazing things, and people are using these for their hoagies, for their grinders, for all this different stuff, right?
Yeah, oh yes.
Look at that. It makes me, I'm going to like bite into one of these in just a minute here in a second. So tell us about each location, because they're a little bit different at each location, and your bakery is at the one in
Smith Street.
In Smith Street. So tell us about each location.
Well, in North Providence on Smith Street, we've been there, like I said, about 23 years. And that's where everything's made.
Oh my God.
So we make bread. We do pastry. Our main thing is bagels, but we've been trying to expand out to a little bit of bread now because everybody's asking for it. And, you know, so we make a little bit of pastry, and then we started to notice that business was getting better, so we wanted to expand out a little bit, and we found a good location on Broadway, and it's kind of been a great success so far.
So at any given time, you've got probably 3 or 4 different types of breads, because I know you said you carry some
Yeah.
holiday breads, you got these bagel ones. Where did, the thought started with the bagels, and then went to the breads, you're
Yes.
saying. How many different bagels do you carry?
I have like 15 different kinds.
15.
And we can make more, but you know, you try to keep it, you know.
Compact so people
Yeah.
have the space for you. So 15 different kinds of bagels, and every day both shops are stocked with them.
Yes,
And the breads are in there too, because I know when I went in the one in North Providence, these breads were out there and ready to go.
right.
So-
North Providence mainly bread, and we're working on moving it up to Broadway.
To Broadway, to Federal Hill. So when you put all this together and you're making these, did you see the expansion happening? Did you know that you were going to reach this point 23 years ago when you're thinking about all this now? As I mean, this great bread.
I know, thanks. As we first opened, the bagel business was booming, and then as the years went on, bakeries and markets,
Yeah.
everybody started making bagels, and so kind of the little mom and pop stores kind of started to slow down a little bit. But now over the last 5-10 years now, a lot of the places went out of business, and you know, so the little pop and pops
staples,
are
yeah.
starting to come back now, and people are, you know, they want the good stuff. So we try to keep all our product top line, and
And this top line, I'm tasting like an unbelievable butter and garlic. Is that what it is? Butter and garlic?
that
on
one
top?
there, no.
What am I tasting? It's unbelievable.
Just, we use a good ingredients, and it's kind of a, I don't want to say a secret recipe. but
Everything's
we
a
use-
secret recipe. I can
Yeah.
never get any answers out of bakers.
I,
All right, so in diving down into this and slicing up the breads and stuff like that, you've got to have something that's been your fun to do. Was this a creation of yours that came up that's just been fun to do to produce?
Yeah, that was something that when we first opened, my mother started that, and it's been going on ever since.
The size of these things are massive to be able to do it. All right, so you're not going to tell me what's in this bread, okay?
Well, I will tell you.
You'll tell me what's in this
Yes,
brown
I
bread.
will.
You're going to tell me.
That there is, one day I was just fooling around, and I added prune, apple, cinnamon, honey, and multigrain flour,
Okay.
and I don't put any sugars or anything, and then walnuts, and then when it's just about done, you add raisins, and it's sweet with all the fruits and everything that's in there, and it's fairly healthy for you.
Yeah, breads are always
And,
healthy for you.
It
And
makes just great toast, or just anyway with butter.
So when are you baking all these? Like, if you're baking the bagels and this, when do you start this process? Is it an early morning thing, or?
Yeah, the bagels are the first thing because that's our number one priority, and we got most of the equipment for that. And the bread we'll do after. And bread we usually do more towards the end of the week. We're kind of not in the beginning of the week,
Okay.
and it's catching on now, so we're kind of trying to grow that.
Now, the space that you've got, so obviously the Smith Street was the original location, that's a bigger location, the bakery's set up there. This thing's gotta be piled up with flour bags on a regular
Ah,
basis if you're in there doing this, right?
Yeah, it's getting there.
It's getting there.
Yeah, we got a little bit of room in the Smith Street, so the other second location on Broadway is more, we transport everything
Everything
there.
comes over to that one.
And, you know, we try to, sometimes I have to make a couple of runs, so it's kind of working out good.
All right, now being that you're Italian, I know there's some Italian products that you've carried, and Anthony and I know each other through my good friend Jim Verity, and his sister and his wife, which you gotta say happy Valentine's Day to
Happy
her.
Valentine's Day, honey. Love you. And everybody else out there, all the pretty girls.
Now, talk to me about these, because this is the soft spot for me, these regatta cookies, so talk about
That's
this.
just the cookie I found online one day, and I guess I perfected it because it's, when I make it, it's gone.
Is it really?
They're like heaven. You can't eat just one. And-
Now, you also have the deli,
Yep.
so people can come in, they can use these, make them into their sandwiches when they're there.
Yeah.
And then, is it calzones that I've seen a lot out there now?
Yeah, we make a little bit of calzones, And we do pizza, um, you know, bakery pizza there, make our own, so everything's made there and from scratch, so that helps the
No,
quality.
Absolutely, the quality, and that's going back to what we were talking about with Narragansett Creamery, is that bread, wine, and cheese all go together, but if you can support someone that is making this stuff locally and buy local, it becomes incredibly important. From the sourcing perspective of where you're getting the product to the people that they're employing. And I know that, you know, each location's a different size, but you've got a decent sized team now going that you're responsible for at both locations. And I know that you were telling me you're in there baking sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm there mainly, I mean, I'm trying to get a couple people to learn how to, but you're kind of picky and.
Yeah, and it's hard to get them to follow in your footsteps
yeah,
to
you
do
know,
it.
people don't work as hard as they should these days.
I mean, hear that. Unfortunately, that's a skill that's got to get perfected out there. So, your perspective in doing this, and I know that you're Italian like I am, bread, wine, and cheese. You can easily have any of these with a nice bottle of wine.
Oh, yeah.
What's some of your favorite wine to enjoy with these?
Oh, I like a nice Chianti.
There you go.
And some cheese and nice homemade bread.
Now, when you do the seasonal ones, we were talking about that before, that there's some that come out for special times of year. What are some of those?
Well, we'll do like a sweet bread for Easter,
Okay.
which is nice, and then there'll be like for St. Patty's Day they do like a Irish soda bread. We do, so we have a special baker that comes in for that. He's kind of one of the old dinosaurs, I call him,
And he's got that skill of knowing how to make that
yes,
product.
Yeah, there's not many left like him. He's a machine.
Wow.
And, you know, he enjoys it, so he still does it.
Now, the sweet bread that comes out for Easter, is that, there was a name that I was heard of when I was growing up, like the Gazzadil type with the, is that the frosting on it, or how is this one set
Yeah,
up that you do?
you put a little bit of the glaze frosting on it, and just can sprinkle the Jimmy's
the
type
Jimmy's
on
sprinkle
there.
on, yeah.
And, you know, some people like it plain, so you can leave a few plain.
Now, from a perspective of getting these things, do people have to, can they order these in advance if they're trying to do it for a party? That was another question I had out there. So,
Yeah, I mainly try to take orders, you know, for the holidays and stuff. That way everybody can get what they want, and then what I make enough for the people that just walk in, so it kind of works.
now, do you find that it's growing? I mean, obviously you went to the second location, but do you find that which you've done so far has been successful, that it continues to grow?
Yes, yeah, I'm having a lot of good feedback, and yeah, business is getting better. I mean, and everybody likes what they get, and they keep asking me to make more, and I'm.
Yeah, so about that asking me more, is there plans in the future to try to grow some of the things you want to do?
I mean, yeah, I think about it.
You think about it?
Getting up there, so it's like somebody to follow my footsteps. I got a son out there that hopefully someday maybe.
But from a product standpoint, is there something that you want to do, that you want to add to the list of things that you're producing?
Kind of good with what I got. I kind of like to keep a small and keep it good.
Right.
You know, instead of getting too much variety and then.
So now, with today being Lent, that Easter bread he's talking about,
Yeah.
that's going to be coming out, the sweet bread, so that's something that people should look for to come out and think about buying towards the holidays. And getting into all this and doing it, when they come in, and you said mostly weekends right now that the bread's available, right?
Right.
Okay. Can they, and I ask this because I know it's a silly question, but from the slicing perspective, do they come in and grab the loaves and take them home, or do you guys have the slicers in there?
I can slice bread for people. Yeah. You know, if they want it sliced, we'll slice it. If not, you can just take it right off the counter.
And have you found that people will come in and ask you to slice and use these to make the sandwiches
Oh,
right while
yeah.
you're there?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
say.
And, you know, in our little deli that we have, we use all boar's head, so it's, you know, we try to use the good quality of everything. So.
Now, the style in the one in Providence is more smaller. It's like a smaller cafe to come into the windows and mostly take and go. Is the Smith Street the same same
Yeah,
way?
Smith Street is a little more, you can sit down a little bit. And Broadway, Atwell's, we have seats and everything, but it's a little more quicker, in and out,
Yeah, it's quick
express
cafe
type
style.
thing, yeah.
But in Smith Street, it's the larger one to be able to come in and
Yes,
sit down.
yeah. And you kind of got a good atmosphere, so it's kind of nice to look around and watch a few things that are in there.
Now, is that the spot that you've been in for the longest? That
Yes,
Smith Street's
yeah,
the 23
we've
years?
been there 23.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
How did you get into this? How did you decide that you wanted to start doing this? Because it's 23
That's
years. I mean, it's
interesting.
been here.
Yeah. Well, when we first started, it was my mother and her boyfriend there, husband, and they decided with another couple, they decided to start a bagel shop in Marco Island, and they ended
Marco
up coming.
Island?
Yeah, and we have the first bagel shop on Marco Island, and it's still there. And now, then somehow they had partners, and it didn't kind of work out. So my mother came back, and she asked me if I wanted to help her get it started, and then that's kind of where we are now.
So it became a family affair with you
Yeah,
coming in and
yep.
assisting your mother.
Yes, it's family, and now, you know, my mother got a little tired, so I took over, and now she works for me.
And I'm sure she's okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
she's all right
She's
with
really
that.
the boss, but I just listen to what she says, you know.
Now, did she have a background in baking? Was it something that she was passionate about, or it just, again, happened upon doing this and it got started that way?
No, we worked in the restaurant business our whole life, so as we were growing up, I guess we learned how to, you know, cater to people a little bit, and then you just, it's like anything, if somebody teaches you, you know, if you pay attention, I mean, you can learn how to do anything.
Now, have you had people reach out to you about that, about trying to sell to restaurants, businesses, about buying your product in the bagels?
Yes, I have a few wholesalers all around Providence, and I have a few other people that I'm interested, but sometimes.
It's kind of, you want to grow at a steady
Yeah,
pace to make sure that it.
Yeah, I kind of like to keep my area going strong, you know, and, you know, make sure my store's good.
Before I let you go, because I want to make sure we get into this, let's talk
Right.
about what some of these kind of bagels are, because we got a whole bunch of them back here. So what are some of the bagel varieties that you produce?
Well, we got, one of the most popular one is spinach, which a lot of people really don't make.
Yeah.
And that's made with, you know, fresh spinach, and it's got garlic and everything, so that people really love them. We
What's
have
in
an
there?
everything bagel, which is a #1 seller.
This one is massive.
Sunflower, which is becoming quite popular.
And then we've got some plain
And
ones, right?
plain is like the #1, you know, surprisingly, but it's
People still go for
excellent.
the plain one to do it.
Yes, they do.
So what are some of the other kinds that we didn't get into?
And we do like a cinnamon sugar and a cheddar cheese with jalapenos.
Oh, wow.
And every once in a while, somebody will ask for something special, and I'll try to make it for them.
The spinach
And,
one looks unbelievable.
Oh, they're delicious.
Add some healthiness to it, just like the
Right.
bread. You got to add some
Oh,
healthiness
yeah.
to it. Well, this was fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk to us. Well, you know, you said you like Chianti with your bread. Are you
Oh,
the
yeah.
kind of guy that sits down and eats the cheeses like I do and sit down and enjoy?
I'm gonna sit down with you later on and have some bread and cheese right here and
That's
wine.
awesome. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. All right, thank you, my friend. This was fantastic to have
Thank
you
you
come in.
very much.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
Let's slide this thing out of here. I'll be eating some bread and some cheese tonight. Next, we'll get to the wine.
Good.
You got it?
All right.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's slide that one over there. Thank you. Well, if you weren't hungry before this, I can't imagine that, you know, you're not hungry now, because I've been eating the cheese and the bread the whole time going through this. And Anthony's locations, like I said, I've been to both of them. They're great spots up there, and you've got 2 areas covered. Next, we got to tie this all in, and I'm going to bring in Nicole from Gasperos, who's going to provide us some history and some of her recommendations and thoughts on what wines go well with bread and cheese. I'll set up some glasses when we get ready for her. Hey!
Hi, Rick.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you today?
Good. Happy Valentine's Day.
You
Nice
too.
to see
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I'm gonna have to slide right over into here. Wow, we got nice, 4 nice things. Slide right back here for me.
Oh.
There you go, because you're gonna go right over to here. All right, so this is the end part of it, and I always try to save the wines to the end because that way I'm not going too crazy in the beginning. And I've been eating cheese and bread all along over here already. 2 great people that came in. But before we get into the nice things that you brought and talk about your favorite pairings, tell us a little bit about the history of what's going on at Gasperos up there.
Sure. So Gasperos Wines, the original, has been on Federal Hill for 120 years as of this year, which is pretty exciting.
It's amazing.
And back in the day, we were actually the first store to direct import from Italy. So I'm not sure if you were familiar with that.
No.
It's a very fun fact. And we were bringing in all of our own product back in the 20s and the 30s during Prohibition. And this is something we've really continued to do to have a very substantial Italian selection that's unique, things you can't find anywhere else in the US, but we do also have wines from all over the world. So it's definitely a one-stop shop for all things wine.
And you've been a staple up on Federal Hill for an incredibly long time. I mean, since I think it was 1930s in that range that you ended up on Federal Hill, and have been up there ever since.
So we've moved around actually on Federal Hill.
2
so
spots, right?
2 locations. So we have been there for about 120 years. Originally we were down further towards, I guess there's a 7-Eleven there now. That's a really horrible reference, but if you're familiar with the area, you'll know where it is. We were down there, and now we're up next to Ponte Vino.
Right, and their store is absolutely beautiful, and I want to talk about that because your store has become almost like an event space, a very inviting space for people to not only to shop, but to come in and enjoy some of the tastings. And I've been, you've seen on my social media, I've done a lot of the tastings recently, so I'm going to have you highlight some of those, but tell us about how the store is set up. Kind of paint a visual for people that haven't been up there, because it's also become this tourist spot for people coming into the city.
Definitely. So if you haven't been, check it out. But when you walk in, it is just really warm. We have chandeliers and warm wood fixtures, and you kind of feel like you're walking into someone's home, which is really special. We have a gorgeous wine cellar that features all of our 90 plus points wine right in front. And then if you walk towards the back, we do have a private event room. It fits about 18 people comfortably for a sit-down dinner. So it's really becoming a location where people can go and spend time and socialize. And it doesn't really have that liquor store feel. It's more of a boutique-y experience.
No, I agree 100%. And the room that you're talking about, I think, I can't remember who your father said who did the room, but the panels in the room are all old wine cases, right?
Mm-hmm. So my uncle actually did
Your
that.
uncle, okay.
He is our contractor, so we really are just a family business. And he took the lids from wine boxes and he paneled the entire wall. We have doors like that and tables. Doesn't really sound that cool, but if you check it out, I promise you'll like it. It's really impressive.
It's absolutely amazing. It's got that historic feel to it because some of these were older wines, older vintages that had been out there. So it's really got this really comfortable, cozy, you feel like you're in a vineyard almost with the style of how we set it up to do it.
Definitely.
So varietal-wise, you mentioned Italian wines, and I put up some great pictures of some of the Italian wines that you've had out there, and you've had some wonderful people come in to visit. Teo Costa is one of the guys that came in. Talk to us about that visit, because I found that this visit was a really cool thing that they did, and what they brought with them was special. So
Sure. So we have close relationships with a lot of producers in Italy. We've traveled around and picked out our favorites. I brought them all today. And the producers actually came from Teo Costa, and they brought in a big prosciutto leg, so cured meat, and it's actually really not legal, but it's fine. They went on the airplane, it was okay. Anyways, so they came in and they brought a chef and they cooked traditional Piemonte food, and we paired it with their wine. And we actually hosted that one at Massimo, and everyone get a ticket and come and eat dinner, and we did it family style. So it's really about celebrating Italian culture and just trying new things.
how many Italian wines do you think you get carried in the store overall, if you had to guess?
Gosh, I don't know, definitely over 500.
Over 500
Yeah.
Italian wines. And the California section has grown massively recently, I think, under you guys with the stuff that you've done. So on the knowledge part of it, you've got a great team there, and this is some of the questions that I had, is how people can come in and get educated. We're going to do part of that today, but you've also got a good team in place that is really familiar with the wines that are helping describe and letting people taste as they come in, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, are you into
Yeah, sure. So we have Tim and Ryan work in the store, and they're both so knowledgeable about wine, and they're really able to listen to the customers and see what they're in the mood for, or maybe you're cooking something special. We just had someone in today who's making surf and turf actually for Valentine's Day.
In the store?
Yep, coming in, wanted to buy some wine. So depending on what you're looking for, we have a whole team, and they are more than equipped to help you pick out something just right.
Perfect. So what did you bring today? And tell me, you're going to tell us why these go with cheeses that you like. So I've got a bunch of different glasses, but tell us what you got, and then we'll do some taste.
Okay, well, I have a Dal Bello Treviso. This is a sparkling wine, so Prosecco. It's from Veneto, Italy.
Nice.
This is very crisp on the palate. You'll get apple flavors, some acacia and freesia, but it's just very light and delicate, but at the same time it's dry. I wouldn't call it fruity. And then we'll go down the line with whites.
Sure, go ahead.
Great. So then we have Rocca della Regina. It is an Arnese. This is actually from Teo Costa, so you're familiar with it.
Yep.
It means Rock of the Virgin. And I don't know if you knew that part.
No,
either.
I did not.
Fun little fact. It's the artwork on it has a
Oh,
little
you can
girl.
see it
Yep,
right
she's
through
just
there.
running through the field.
Joe, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this, but I got to definitely take a picture of it later. You can see right through the label, and you see the girl running
So
through the
it's
field.
named after the art piece, and that one is really citrusy and refreshing. It has a natural occurring frizzante, so almost like an effervescence.
All right, well, you're
Goes
talking, I'm
really
gonna pour a
nice
little
with
bit of
cheese.
this
He's so excited.
Yeah,
He
I'm
can't
gonna
even
go
wait.
to
I
this
was gonna
one.
pour for you.
one. No, you keep talking. You're good.
And then next up we have Lucilla. This is a red blend from Tuscany. So it's Sangiovese, Merlot, and Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a very well-balanced wine. You get a lot of that Tuscan fruit, spice, and earthy flavors. This is actually a fan favorite. Everyone loves this one. And then finally we have Barbera. This is also from Piemonte, like Teo Costa. And this one is a little more fruit forward, but still dry. It goes great with cheese. So if you're doing anything with truffles or risotto, it's a great wine for that. You'll get a lot of dried candied raspberry flavor and some dark cherry.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm going to try this one because I like Teo Costa, so we're starting there. So, obviously I have a fan favorite for this because I do love Teo Costa.
Of course.
The reds and whites, I've been a big fan of theirs. But any of these wines, and this is where it goes, and she's talking about the team that she has there and her favorites that she's brought in today, but think of the cheeses that we started out with. Even the grilled one that was like the softer cheese that I tried at the beginning, this would go absolutely perfect with it. And if you noticed on the trays that the Narragansett Creamery folks brought in, there was a lot of fruit. So you were mentioning before about how this carries a lot of those fruit notes forward, right? And Prosecco's are all bubbly, sparkling, but they're not yet champagnes.
No, they're not. So it's a different process. Champagne has to come from France. And you can make a Prosecco or a sparkling wine in any region, which is pretty interesting. I like this one because it's great to put in a mimosa, or you could do it with shellfish. I love it with cheese. I think the sparkling really just cuts through that fat and all of that dairy. So pop this one
Watch,
open.
I'm gonna watch this.
Ah,
Nice
there we go.
job.
Cute.
Look at that. All right, so while she's pouring this and we're tasting it, because she's already given nice overviews on them, I want to talk about some of the tastings you do. The biggest way to learn about these, and we go over this in the show almost on a weekly basis, is to go to these tastings and get educated, ask the questions, ask what goes with things. Like she mentioned, someone was coming in today saying what they were cooking for dinner for Valentine's Day and looking for a wine. So talk to us about some of the tastings that you have coming up.
Sure. So actually, right on Saturday, we're doing a Southern Italy tasting. We're doing two producers. One is from Campania, Italy, and the other is from Puglia, which is really nice. That's right in the boot. And this one's really special to us because our family actually comes from Itri, which is right in Campania. And we're just going to be providing an antipasti and olives and olive oil that actually come from Itri, where my family's from. So we're really just going to be toasting to our ancestors and our family that still lives there, and just really celebrating some delicious wine. So that's the next one we have, and then you can always check back on our website to see what we schedule for the coming months. And we do have a mailing list. We don't spam. A lot of people have asked about that. But we always make sure we keep you in the loop with what we're doing, and these are all complimentary. So Saturday, if you want to stop by, 2 to 4 p.m.
2 to 4, okay. Cheers to that for sure. So 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, and I know a lot of people are still out celebrating this weekend. This might be a nice thing for you to be able to do, and to also get the education when you go in to do it. You've had different partners too. So like Massimo Panivino's come in and partnered. Matteo Costa brought in that prosciutto, and I have a great picture. I'm gonna have to post it.
We should
later.
post it.
I'm definitely gonna post it. Them shaving the prosciutto, it was absolutely amazing. And then I think recently there was one that Roma from Federal Hill partnered with you on.
That
right?
was last Saturday. We did Northern Italy, actually, and Roma did a beautiful antipasti for us.
And you've even partnered with Caserta's, because I went to one recently, which was Caserta pizza, and Nicole and I are sitting there eating all the Caserta pizza.
I bought 10 pizzas, and everyone was saying, you bought too much pizza, but it was actually all gone, so perfect amount of pizza.
You did not, yeah, you had the right amount of pizza, and you had amazing wines, because I ended up leaving with a case of wine that night. So let's talk about switching to reds. So reds are always heavier. People, I mean, except for if you think of like a Pinot Noir from California or whatever, reds are always heavier. In having some of these, and even that night that we were talking about Caserta's, even that night, I was drinking red wine with the pizza that was there, and the cheese went perfectly with it. Do you get a lot of people coming in that need more education on red wines than white?
You know, that's a great question. I actually think it really varies. I think people who only drink red, maybe if they're coming in to buy a gift for someone, they have a ton of questions about white and vice versa. But I will say that food pairings is the big one. People will just come in and shoot something out. It's someone making a lemon cake once and they wanted to have wine with it. They had no idea what to pair.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to pair with that either, now that you mentioned it, and I wouldn't know what to think about that one.
We had a nice blend from Verona, actually, that had lemon flavors and citrus flavors in it, and it was modeled after the wall at Romeo and Juliet's little house.
Really?
So it was nice. They were doing a nice romantic date, so it actually went perfectly.
See, and it's funny that you bring that up. So it seems like every time I have a winemaker in or a wine owner, is that there's some historical context, some romantic story
Of course.
that's associated with producing these wines. So finding that out, and even if you wanted to go to Gasperos tonight to find something nice to end your Valentine's Day or technically get it started, you know, that might be something to find out, like this. With that in there, yeah, I know it's hard to see, and I'm going to put a picture up later, but to find these fun stories, I know. Poor Joe's probably going to kill me after this because I keep moving things around.
That's okay.
All right, so now we got to the red. This one
Perfect.
was
This is the Lucilla.
Lucilla, okay.
Some people say Lucilla. Not really sure.
Lucilla. All right. That. I'm going to try to bring that guy up there so that you can see a little better. So when you're having these from a cheese perspective, and you've had a lot of places that have brought cheese in, are these your 4 favorites, or do you have other ones that you think about as well?
I think there are always some other ones I think about, but you know, short segment can only bring so much wine. I definitely think my favorite to do with any cheese.
Molly, are you laughing at me back there?
So much wine.
Only so
All
much
of the
wine.
wine. My favorite is definitely Barbera though,
Barbera.
for cheese, which I did bring. So you can never go wrong.
No, you can't go wrong with Barbera. It's definitely one of my favorites too. So, I know a lot of you brought questions up to me about red wines and about trying to get educated and understand them better and the timing of the year to work on them. I want to say what many guests have already said behind, there's no wrong time to drink red wine. You can drink red wine in the summer, you can drink red wine in the winter, it doesn't matter. I have no prejudices. I go back and forth between when I drink both. But I think that going into your store and having the guys talk to you about it and educating you on it, especially Italian varietals. People seem to be more familiar with, or they think they're more familiar with California varietals, but Italian sometimes scares them because they don't understand the grapes or the differences in how it's made. But I think that most Italian wines seem to have some similarities to other wines people have tasted.
Absolutely. I think it's all about knowing what you like. So let's say you know that you really like Pinot Noir from Oregon. If you're able to convey that to one of our sales associates, they can help you find something that you've never tried that you'll like just as much, probably more.
That's really true. You mentioned the cellar when you walk in and it's got the 90 points wines that are all in there. How far back do some of those wines go? I mean, the vintages span a long time, right?
They go back really far. So even just the other day, I found one from the 90s. So
1990, you found a vintage in there. So when going into that room, the guys again will help people walk them through an education if they're looking for a special bottle, that type of thing.
Definitely. And anyone's welcome to come in and actually browse themselves. It's a really fun way to look at new labels or kind of just feel your way around different vineyards, and it's fun to like look at the labels and see how history has really changed vineyards over time too.
And the room that we talked about in the back, that's kind of, you said I think it's 18 people that the room could house. If someone wanted to throw their own tasting, if they want to do their own special event there and bring in food, is that something that can go through for you guys to plan through you, or how does that come together?
Definitely. So I would be your go-to person for that, and we're able to accommodate most requests, which is nice. So definitely stop by, see the space, ask for me, I'll be there.
Now, do they have to go through specific people, or can they, for food-wise, or can they just bring anything they want in?
We're open-minded, so we work very closely with Pane Vino since they're right next door, so it's really easy, and we do have a great relationship with them there. We love hosting our tastings with them and having them come in the store. So we typically lean towards working with them, but you know, let's say you really want Thai food, we could work something out too.
So, and the other big thing to mention is that Guest Browse has their own parking. There is a lot that goes almost like an L-shaped lot that goes around the back there. You can actually enter it from both Spruce Street and Atwells Avenue, and then there's parking across the street at St. John's as well. So people were asking me, you know, that they hadn't been up to the hill in years as the parking situation changed. I can honestly tell you this is nice because they have a lot. I can't tell you the parking situation on Federal Hill has changed because it goes back and forth. I don't want to be negative, but it hasn't really changed that much up on Federal Hill. So let's talk about the last one that we got here.
Great. So this is the Barbera. This is my all-time favorite with cheese. I love it, especially with just nice cheesy pasta.
All-time favorite.
All-time favorite for cheese. So if you were in Piedmont just visiting the vineyards and the producers, this is what they would put on their table for a nice table wine during lunch or dinner.
Nothing wrong with a table wine any time of the day.
There's so many glasses.
I know, I like it. Go through this. Cheers again.
Cheers.
Thank you. Okay. She's not going home with all that because I'll have to be pouring a little bit more to have with.
Have to share with the staff.
Yeah, I think we're going to get mobbed after we leave out here. So 4 different wines today. She brought in 2 whites technically if you consider the Prosecco one, then the 2 reds. All of these pair up with the varietal things that we've had, and there is so much more. And people are talking about, I got a question, okay, so do you consider cheeses going onto the pastas and all the different things that are out there and how you pair it up? It's the same thing about getting an education. I could have this right now with a pasta tonight putting cheese on it. It doesn't have to be that you're sitting there hunking at a block of cheese and cutting it apart to have it. There's different ways to pair these things up and to make the meal, in my version, complete to have out there. So with you guys in there, with the Italian varietals in there, the California varietals in there, have there been ones that have surprised you that you found that you've liked that come in that you had no idea that you'd enjoy before?
Yeah, actually, so I've been learning a little bit more about Spanish wines and then wines from Chile, and I didn't really know a lot about them, but I'll have someone come in and I'll give it a taste, and I'm always really surprised, and there's just so much to learn about every different region where wine comes from.
And then Italian liqueurs, I noticed you guys have also had that because I got some amaretto when I was in there last time, and ports, which I've talked about because I'm a big fan of ports. You guys have carrying the ports that are in there. And setup-wise, this is not a store where you feel like you're going to get lost and can't find anything. You guys have got it divided up pretty nicely. Even in the beginning, you've got those beautiful racks when you walk in the front of the store to do it, which I've seen Nicole stocking and getting things all set to go in there to do. All right, is there anything that I'm forgetting? Because you tell me if I'm missing anything about the store that I didn't cover.
Let's see. I think parking, events, it's the big one.
And events, it seems like your events are almost like, now you're having them like twice a month almost.
We are. So we try to have one once a week as well. It was a little slow. Well, not slow, but it was just so busy during the holidays where people were coming in. We were just constantly flooded with people shopping. So we kind of pulled back a little bit, but now that it's the new year, we're ready to really ramp up again.
Holidays, that's a very good point. So hold on, I got to segue to holidays before I let her go. Around Christmas, everyone was asking me about baskets and how to put things together and pick them. And I know that today being the start of Lent and it being Valentine's Day, is that something that people can come in to do on a regular basis? Because you have another special thing that you're now doing to bottles, and I took one when I was there last time.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to talk about that real quick.
Definitely.
Right.
So we offer free bottle and glass engraving. We do it right in store for you. So you just purchase your bottle or glass, and we can engrave it. We also do gift baskets, corporate giving. We have gift cards. We do events. So really anything you need for holidays or a special occasion, we're able to make it happen. And even today, I made a couple of gift baskets going out actually. So
That glass engraving thing, I did a bottle, so I have to tell you, I did one for my wife and I brought it home because I was out too long, so I knew I'd be in good shape. So I had this bottle done, and I had to Nicole put on the bottle and brought it home, and was there for the next morning. It looked amazing. Like they literally took the bottle, put it right into the machine, and it was carving it out. He was telling me it didn't matter whether it was white or red, how it would look on the bottle to do it.
Nope, doesn't change. It just does it right on the surface, so it just kind of scratches along right there.
So to do something special, to do something nice, go get a bottle of Prosecco, go get a bottle of something else, have it engraved. You'll look like you did this 3 weeks ago, and you'll look like a hero if you go home with that tonight. Or anytime these holidays come up. All right, Nicole, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in, and you brought some great products. And we'll make sure that we put that prosciutto picture up, and I'll tag some other things as well to put out there. So thank you, honey.
Thank you so much for
We'll
having
get this
me.
cleaned up for us in a second. The girls will help us get it out. There we go. All right. So I've got to close up to get going because I want to make sure that Kate gets in with everything that's next with news and politics. But cheese, bread, and wine, we covered a lot of it today. We'll put up the great pictures. I got to take a picture of Nicole before she leaves. I'll be eating some more cheese and some bread. But make sure that you check out each of these guys because everyone is local. We've been talking a lot about buying local and supporting local businesses. So thank you for joining me on The Taste today. I'm Rick Simone. Talk to you soon.